Essentially, our goal is to engineer the world that we want by discovering the fundamental structures and the underlying dynamics of our interactions in the world and with places.
You're listening to Smart Thinking, a podcast from WSP. I'm Matthew Marson, taking you on a journey into smart buildings. In this episode, we're being especially smart and discussing artificial intelligence. Joining me in the studio is Dr. Chlump Chatkupt, the founder and CEO of Placemake.io. He's a tech founder, mathematician, AI scientist, economist, engineer, writer, artist, musician, and swimmer, just to name a few. Whether as a researcher at LSE or strategic advisor to Abbott Laboratories or the mathematical mind behind a boutique consulting firm, Chlump has made a career of developing novel strategies and building mathematical models, technologies, and algorithms. Welcome, and to jump in with our first question, in your opinion, what is a smart building and why should we care?
Thanks for having me. A smart building is any building that is designed to be fully integrated into a data or algorithmic pipeline. The result is a two-way binding. Any data or change that might be generated within or by the building can feed into the greater system in which that building is embedded. And conversely, any data or change that might be generated within or by the greater system that encompasses the building can feed into the building. In many ways, a smart building is more akin to a computer than a building. We may in the future talk about a building being deployed, just as software gets deployed. Naturally, a smart building will have data and algorithms at its heart and perhaps be designed to be AI first. But the deeper implication is that by leveraging data and algorithms, such an integration will allow us to serve in unprecedented ways the interests and values of people and yield a built environment that is designed to be people first.
I really like that as a concept. Just to double click on that, what is artificial intelligence, just to make it really simple for us?
The phrase artificial intelligence generally refers to the science and engineering of intelligent machines or computer systems, the intelligence that such machines or computer systems exhibit, and the simulation of human intelligence by a machine or a computer system. Machine learning, you might have heard.
Yeah, they often come in tandem, don't they, when people talk about AI? That's always ML follows pretty quickly afterwards. So is there a difference?
Yes, machine learning is a subfield of artificial intelligence and embodies a set of approaches to the question of AI and algorithms to solve specific tasks, such as classification. Machine learning is often defined to be the science and engineering of setting a machine upon a task and teaching the machine to learn, that is, to improve its performance with respect to the task based on experience and data, to solve the task without needing to be explicitly programmed.
So when we're talking about image classification, you mean a machine learning could learn over time, for instance, the ability to recognize a face?
Could be a face, could be numbers, could be symbols, could be objects in pictures.
So when I'm taking a selfie on Snapchat and there's like a small box that comes around my face, is that machine learning?
Yes.
Okay, makes sense. So I want to hear a little bit more about your company. What is Placemake.io and how can it help me?
We are an AI company and we develop AI technologies to solve location and mobility problems. In an abstract sense, location industries, as with others, are concerned essentially with signal detection. The better that one is at exploiting data to identify hidden patterns in signals, the greater is the payoff. Shall I give some examples?
Yes, please.
So we have market measures that can track performance over time and can be used for assessment, investment management, portfolio benchmarking, and in the future can serve as the foundation for financial instruments. We have leading indicators that can offer a perspective on the market and can help to determine, for example, when to buy, hold, and sell your assets. Certain algorithms of ours can identify comparable places automatically across multiple dimensions and also the optimal location for a physical asset. Other algorithms analyze people, how they move around the city, their check-ins, sentiments, and preferences, and so on. Essentially, our goal is to engineer the world that we want by discovering the fundamental structures and the underlying dynamics of our interactions in the world and with places. At the same time, we are generalizing this platform and developing it into a complete location mobility stack in the manner of Google or Amazon Web Services that will be able to serve as the underlying infrastructure for all location and mobility applications. And individuals and organizations will be able to deploy their operations and services, everything from entire real estate portfolios and urban models to location-based services, to a development environment on top of our stack without needing to maintain separate private infrastructure. You can think of the stack as an operating system that can power any location and mobility application, from site selection and valuation to logistics, provision of public services, and even, say, epidemiological surveys. Ultimately, our mission is to help location industries to learn from their data, to build better, more efficient, smarter industries and cities, and to be the premier location mobility stack of the world.
So, some small goals.
Yeah.
Exactly. So would it be fair to say that you can kind of tell me where the next up-and-coming place is going to be in a city?
Yeah, we would basically look for different types of signals that can point you in that direction.
Let's say I'm a famous fast food chain. Could I use your tool to tell me where to put my new stores?
Yes, you could.
And what kind of output would I get from that? So would it kind of analyze a city and tell me where I'll get kind of the most footfall, or where I will get the greatest profit per square foot, for instance?
You can go further than that. I mean, you can understand, for example, transition probabilities, the probability that someone will go from one type of establishment to another one. You can look at some of these other signals, so social media, interests. You can look at sentiment. You can look at some of the more traditional indicators, so price per square meter. You can look at rent and so on. You can also look at the distribution of neighbors.
Wow, so bringing all this together actually reveals so much more than a traditional kind of piece of real estate work would.
Right.
Let's think a little bit more broadly now about artificial intelligence in the built environment. How do you kind of see the future of those two things working together?
Well, as celebrated AI scientist Andrew Ng observed, AI is the new electricity. AI will become increasingly foundational, transformative, and pervasive. AI, robotics, autonomous vehicles, and other technologies can be expected to enable continuous real-time data generation, collection, aggregation, management, and analysis, enable dynamic operation, intelligent monitoring, management, and optimization of the built environment, transform transportation, logistics, and retail, enable predictive maintenance, enhance manufacturing yields, optimize and streamline design and construction processes, facilitate risk mitigation, automate facilities management, automate quality testing, improve supply chain management, optimize R&D operations, and automate support functions. So essentially, the built environment will become a dynamic, interactive, human-centric element that can respond to and influence behavior and be more sustainable, resilient, and accommodating.
So it's going to touch all parts of the built environment?
Yeah, pretty much.
Wow. If you had to give one kind of prediction, what would it be?
I don't like to predict.
You need the data. Let's think about some practical applications then. If you were somebody that was considering using AI in your building or your city, what would your top tips be to them?
Adopt an AI-first attitude. By that, I mean think of AI as fundamental, not supplemental. Adopt AI early. People drastically underestimate the rate of change, and the changes will arrive sooner than people realize. And furthermore, acceleration means that change will come increasingly quickly. Accelerating returns will accrue to those who effectively leverage AI, and conversely, those who fail to take advantage will face an ever-widening gap. Promote AI and data sharing, and actively forge strategic partnerships. The two principal problems right now are opaqueness and lack of standardization. And progress in this space will be defined more by cooperation and collaboration than competition.
Great words of wisdom there. If we want to find out more about Placemake, where should we go?
You can get in touch with me.
So we'll head to the website at placemake.io. A big thank you to Dr. Chlump Chatkupt, the founder and CEO of Placemake. In our next episode, we'll be talking about the appification of everything with Henry Kraglick. If something in this episode has piqued your interest, then have a chat with us. Email smart@wsp.com. You've been listening to Smart Thinking, a podcast from WSP. I'm Matthew Marson, and thanks for listening.